Nashville's top cop says enough is enough.
It's frustrating to me when you hear someone that committed a murder in 2020 and then in 2021 they commit another murder.
Fed up with repeat offenders out on the streets.
People have to die before something's done.
And he's not the only one. What state leaders are doing to keep violent criminals locked up.
A broken system. What Nashville's juvenile court judge says needs to change. Fox 17 News at 9 starts now.
Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
I would say the system overall continues to fail people.
In Operation Crime and Justice, we must do better. That's the message from the Metro Police Chief when it comes to the criminal justice system holding people accountable.
That's right. He says that we are seeing more repeat offenders who are back on the streets and committing more crimes. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller now live at Metro's North Police Precinct with more on this call for action tonight.
Yes, well, Metro Police Chief John Drake says enough is enough. He says that he wants the Nashville community to know that repeat offenders are committing more and more violent crimes. He says it's time for the community to step up, work together, and stop this from happening. Metro Police Chief John Drake says this trend with violent offenders in Nashville is alarming. He emphasizes due to low bonds and lack of accountability, criminals are back on the streets quickly to reoffend.
It's very troubling, as I said, if you commit a murder and 6 months later you're out, or a year later you're out. We're seeing that trend pop up a lot more since 2020.
One example, a convicted felon charged with 105 offenses in Nashville is in custody accused of raping and kidnapping a female Amazon delivery worker. Police say Carl Hamilton attacked the woman in a mailroom of an apartment building downtown.
You would think somewhere along the way he would have been held accountable. He would still been a little harsher probation, maybe some wraparound services if he was mentally incompetent or had some issues, or spending more time incarcerated.
Chief Drake wants to sound the alarm, and people who live at this same complex in Sobro are terrified.
They should be trying to do something about that because that's just disgusting.
Chief Drake says it's going to take the entire criminal justice system, including the DA, parole, judges, public defenders, everyone. He says he's done with having these hard conversations.
How do we tell mom that your baby wouldn't have been harmed if we would have done something with this person? And so actually on this side of the fence, we're tired of having those conversations. We wanted to stop.
For the safety of this city. Chief Drake says that he started the Police Activities League to intervene at an early age. So this gives children the opportunity to play sports and interact with the music and arts while also being alongside police officers. Reporting live from North Nashville, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Well, police say that the attack happened on President Ronald Reagan Way, and it's in the heart of this trendy Sobro neighborhood next to popular restaurants like The Goat and the music venue 3rd and Lindsley.
As we continue Operation Crime and Justice, the issue of repeat offenders committing more crimes also has the attention of state lawmakers.
We're going to give the tools to the judiciary that they need to be able to hold folks accountable and keep our communities safe.
In 10 minutes, Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier digs deeper into how state leaders are closing these gaps.
As I'm looking at the bill, I just see red flags all over it.
The push to reform the juvenile justice system. State lawmakers passing a bill transferring the most serious offenders to adult prison after they age out of the juvie system. But as Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker explained, some lawmakers are worried about unintended consequences.
Lots of lawmakers agree that we need to crack down on crime, and that includes juvenile crime. However, not everyone could agree on the right solutions or approach to get there.
It's called a blended sentence, and it's waiting for the governor to sign. Under the plan, teens 14 and older who commit serious crimes could serve up to 5 years in adult prison, and those 16 and up facing murder charges will go to adult court.
Certain crimes, murder, rape, kidnapping. I don't care if you're 12 years old or if you're 112 years old. I think that should be public record. People should know about it, and you should be held accountable for it.
A co-sponsor of the bill, John Gillespie of Memphis, says Tennessee has had soft policies in place for decades, and it's time to set some standards.
Children know they're not going to be. They may go to a detention city for a couple of weeks or a couple of years, but they're not going to be there long.
He says it takes a DA and a juvenile court judge to agree to send someone to adult court, and he thinks there's too many roadblocks.
There are people out there that have common sense that would say the 15-year-old that just was accused of murdering 2 people and carjacking someone, that person's probably a pretty violent person and should be treated as an adult.
But Senator Kerry Roberts says he's concerned with a few issues, including how the state is going to house the young offenders and how we will pay for it. He says provisions to the House bill were never heard in Senate Judiciary Committee.
So we didn't have a chance to ask the Sheriff's Association, for example, how are you going to house a juvenile for over a year waiting for a trial? Where are you going to put them? What are you going to do with them? What kind of programming are they going to receive? Are you equipped to give them counseling?
Senator Roberts says he's not against what the bill is trying to do, but he's not sure all the details are worked out.
Is this bill going to solve the problem, or is it going to create more problems? And right now I'm of the opinion that we may be creating more problems than we're actually solving.
Remember, if the governor does not sign or veto the bill within 10 days of its passing, it automatically becomes law without his signature. For now, reporting at the Capitol, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red Station.
Continuing Operation Crime and Justice and the push for change in our juvenile system. Joining us now, Davidson County Juvenile Judge Sheila Calloway. Your Honor, thank you for doing this. Quickly, juvenile crime's a persistent issue, but what do the numbers say about it being worse than it was a few years ago?
Those numbers are the actual numbers show that juvenile crime is down statewide. For the last 10 years, it's down about 60% statewide, and that's true with Davidson County. It's down about 65% here in Davidson County.
Now, you've heard about the bills on the state level to address repeat offenders, the worst of the worst, if you would, in which a juvenile offender convicted of serious crime would spend a certain amount of time in the juvenile system and then be transferred to an adult prison. Your thoughts on that?
If there was a blended sentencing that allows the child to have a jury trial and the due process rights that other jurisdictions and other states do, then I think the juvenile judges would be okay with that. The way the bill is written, it is questionable constitutionally, as well as it does not allow due process for all of our children.
Now, in juvenile court, the primary mandate isn't punish, but it is reform. And I've heard you say putting kids in jail isn't the answer. What can we do to keep repeat offenders from happening and committing the worst crimes?
Yeah, even if we had children in a secure facility, in a juvenile facility that had a lot of programs, positive programs that allowed them true treatment and rehabilitation that is intact with the brain science, then we could do a whole lot better than keeping our community safe.
I know you've been working with Metro Police to divert juvenile offenders before they even get to court. How is that done? How is that working?
We have been working with Rafa Institute and the police department on diverting children. The ones that have gone through the program, only 2 of them have returned. And I believe the number is about 85 youth who have completed a full restorative justice circle. So that's a great recidivist number, and it shows that things other than incarceration actually work better.
Now, it's believed that the governor is going to sign this blended sentencing law. Do you think there's opportunity for reform moving forward based on what you said?
I'm hoping that if there is some opportunity to reform, it doesn't go in effect until January of next year, and that gives us time to really talk to the legislature about the things that may be constitutionally wrong about the bill and things that we can improve upon.
Nashville Juvenile Court Judge Sheila Calloway, thanks so much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Obviously, this affects us all, and we want to know what you think. Should juveniles accused of serious crimes in Tennessee be sent to adult prisons after they turn 18? 440 votes coming in, and folks are definitive about this. They say yes to the tune of 95.2%, 4.8% say no. The poll's still live. If you'd like to weigh in, you can scan the QR code there on the right-hand side of your screen. It will link you to our X page and our poll tonight, and we will update the results for you coming up tonight on Fox 17 News at 10.
Well, we start off with a look at the radar here. We've got some rain moving in. Already seeing showers in Clarksville this evening for folks west to 65 toward the Tennessee River. Some moderate to heavy pockets of rain, in fact, as we put this in motion. The good news is, as we head through the evening tonight, none of this is going to be severe for us, but we will have the potential for a few areas to pick up quite a bit of rain in a short amount of time, which could lead to some spot flooding. That shouldn't be widespread, but it is possible. Strike count is 0, so not even hearing rumbles of thunder at this point. When we zoom out even more, and you can see that this is all along a front that'll be passing through as we head through the overnight. So showers on tap for this evening. Right now, things mainly quiet in downtown Nashville. The shower chances go up as we head through the overnight. So notice here as we head closer to about 2-3 a.m., more of that rain passing through Nashville here. And we'll continue to see some lingering showers throughout the day on Tuesday, but the majority of rain coming through as you're sleeping tonight. Low temperatures stay quite mild with the cloud cover around. We will see that front push through. Temperatures will drop back to the upper 70s, and not dropping too much as we head through the day tomorrow. Coming up, we'll talk more about our forecast for the week ahead, including when we could see 90 degrees. It's possible later this week.
Nashville is in the middle of an epidemic. People getting out on low bond or no bond, committing.
You guys have been around for such a long time and you have a reputation in the community. The settlement that was, achieved, it's like the start of a new life.
Well, victims, grouping it, they're calling it a low bond epidemic. Nashville judges allowing violent criminals out on reduced or, in some cases, no bond at all.
Now, the violence that followed started a legislative movement to change Tennessee laws on bail. Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier now with his continuing investigation into low bonds.
The Tennessee Constitution says you must consider the alleged criminal's ability to pay, but it also says you must consider public safety. Those two promises are in a bloody head-on collision.
A 13-year-old girl has a mental breakdown. She goes to Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. Vanderbilt employee Terrence Boyd is assigned to watch her. Instead, he is accused of raping the child. With her mental state, police must rely on DNA, so they send it off. Mr. Boyd flees Nashville. The DNA comes back. They charge him with rape by an authority figure. He makes the most wanted list. He's finally found in an apartment in Illinois. He's brought back to Nashville. Guess what happens? His bail is reduced in half. Not increased, reduced from $150,000 to $75,000. His lawyer says poor Mr. Boyd can't afford bail. The judge agrees, but the higher bond wasn't fair. House Majority Leader William Lamberth.
What's not fair is that the people of Tennessee are being murdered and raped and robbed by repeat violent felons that are out on bond, get another bond, get another bond. I mean, they don't have bond conditions to keep them accountable. They don't have anything out there that is stopping them from continuing to commit the same crime over and over again.
Leader Lamberth is not exaggerating. Many of the people released on low or no bond immediately commit an even worse crime.
You cannot come in.
Consider Brandon Brown. He tried to force his way into a Bellevue home.
The scariest kind of stranger home invasion. Police arrive, lots of police. There's a big fight all over the front yard. Police officers actually get injured by Mr. Brown. So what happens next? You figure someone like that, he's going to get a high bond, right? You need to keep him in jail, he's dangerous. Oh no, Mr. Brown gets 0 bond, no bond at all. He's released the same day. And what he does next, hard to believe.
He beat a blind homeless man to death with a fire extinguisher. David Warren is a victim of Brandon Brown, absolutely. But Mr. Brown was assisted by a Nashville judge.
People have to die before something's done. I think it's very, very frustrating, but I think eventually enough innocent people that have been victimized, they're going to rise up again. And they're not going to take it anymore.
We have so many more examples, but we are going to stop and ask a more important question. What can be done? Enter House Majority Leader William Lamberth in the Tennessee State Legislature, which is in the middle of a historic effort to pass new laws to limit judges' abilities to let criminals out on low or no bond.
We're going to give the tools to the judiciary that they need to be able to hold folks accountable and keep our community safe. And then we're going to watch real closely to make sure that they actually do that. So between this session and next session, we expect to see violent crime go down in Tennessee. We expect to see our judges hold these repeat violent felons accountable.
The awful headlines have led to a historic group of potential new laws. One bill makes public safety the top consideration for offering bail. Another bill makes any bond violation subject to immediate arrest with a new charge. Another bill tightens up pretrial monitoring of felons. Another bill that's passed changes the process of determining bail by removing the consideration of a defendant's financial state, which is exactly what's being used right now to lower bond every single day in Tennessee.
And if the defendant says, oh, no, I don't think I can afford that, then they reduce it. Well, look, that's ridiculous. So that bill, I do anticipate will go into law soon, and I think will be very helpful to just keep the standard the same. Again, bond is about ensuring the safety of the public and making sure that the individual appears in court. That's it. That's what bond is there for, and every decision is to be seen through that prism.
Jillian's Law, already passed and funded. It requires violent felons ruled incompetent to face trial to be committed to a mental hospital. And there will be a constitutional amendment you will vote on in 2 years that would allow judges to provide no bond for more than just first-degree murder. It would add second-degree murder, aggravated rape, terrorism, and torture. These are huge changes, all tied to what is happening right now in Tennessee, from musicians being murdered to Easter Day shootouts to hospital rapes to unthinkable fatal beatings.
So what about the U.S. Constitution? Will these laws get past that document? Well, although the 8th Amendment protects against excessive bail, there is not an absolute right to bail. In fact, you could deny bail to certain defendants pending trial, specifically when they are likely to flee or pose a danger to society. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, Katie, we've got those April showers still making an appearance.
Yeah, overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. I mean, the good news is we're not talking about severe weather, especially after a very busy weekend in the plains.
It'll be nice and enjoyable.
It will, yeah, a little pitter-patter.
Especially when you're sleeping.
That's right, yeah, help you go to sleep. We are going to be looking at the rain, though, through the overnight. A couple moderate to heavy pockets can't be ruled out. But as far as severe weather, that's off the table, which is good, too. Report. As we take a look at your forecast for the week ahead as far as rain goes, we do get a brief break. Some showers here for the morning and early part of the afternoon for folks east to 65 tomorrow. We dry out Wednesday and Thursday, and then going into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, our shower chances do return. But even then, I'm not seeing an overall great threat for severe weather. Temperatures for tomorrow, we stay mild overnight, so we're going to start off in those mid to upper 60s. A couple showers possible through the morning hours, 74 as we head towards the later part of the afternoon. We'll see decreasing clouds through the day also. So as we walk you through the evening tonight and into early Tuesday morning, you can see more of those showers around as we head through the overnight. So about 2, 3, 4 a.m. widespread showers here. Anywhere you see that red, we could find maybe a gust of wind 35, 40 miles per hour, but everything will be below severe limits. Heavy rain possible along with some thunder and lightning. As we get into 6 a.m. here, some scattered showers for the morning commute. The rain, though, begins to taper off from west to east here as we head through the afternoon. Notice as we head into the evening hours, we do start to clear. So we'll be looking at a mainly clear sky as we head into early Wednesday morning. How much rain are we expecting? Depends on where these heavy pockets decide to set up. It's possible we could find a ½ inch up to 1 inch of rain. Some areas could be closer to 2 inches of rain. It'll just depend on where those heavy pockets set up. It does look like right now we're trending more to the east of 65, and that'll be more overnight into early Tuesday. So again, while I don't expect really big impacts out of this, it's possible we could find some spot flooding or localized flooding, streets and roads, creeks and streams, low-lying areas. You know, the areas that are prone to urban or just creek or street flooding. We'll talk more about what we can expect for the rest of the week when we could find 90 degrees. It's in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
What started overtime? Now it's TV time.
All merchandise 30% off during our end of the month sale. Going on now at all 3 Lazy Boy locations.
In Operation Crime and Justice, a Sumner County couple is facing criminal charges after police say they left their 24-day-old baby in a car while they went shopping. Luis Suarez and Olivia Vargas were found inside the Costco in Hendersonville. Another customer saw the baby in the car outside and called 911. Tonight, the parents are charged with aggravated child abuse and neglect and leaving a child unattended in a motor vehicle.
Also in Operation Crime and Justice, Metro Police looking for a couple that they say attacked another couple outside of a Nashville bar. Police say that a man and a woman in these pictures here assaulted a couple when leaving the Kung Fu Saloon in Midtown, knocking one woman out. Witnesses say it started out as an argument over a game inside the bar. Security tossed out the suspects, and police say that they waited outside for the victims to leave. The suspects left in a Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk with black wheels.
Just ahead, wearing out their welcome, the push to get pro-Palestinian protesters off college campuses.
Hi, I'm Christine. Of sleep bundles starting at just $9.99 for better sleep and savings. Shop Ashley today.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by B.F. Myers Furniture.
New tonight, Tesla CEO Elon Musk announcing that he has approval to roll out his self-driving car technology in China. Fox 17 News' Christine Frizzell reporting that the news comes as others in the U.S. are cutting ties with the country.
There have been no shortage of warnings about the threat of the Chinese Communist Party against Americans, including from the highest levels of government.
PRC hackers are targeting our critical infrastructure. Our water treatment plants, our electrical grid, our oil and natural gas pipelines. Mr. President.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken making a visit just last week.
This relationship between China and the United States is one of the most consequential, one of the most complicated in the world.
That complicated nature making countering China's threat a delicate dance. Congress did just pass a law requiring TikTok to be sold from its Chinese company ByteDance or Face being banned. But that follows similar regulations already passed by 30 state governments.
American soil belongs in American hands.
Iowa's governor earlier this month signed a law limiting foreign ownership of land. The U.S. Department of Agriculture reports as of 2022, China held nearly 350,000 acres of U.S. land, less than 1% of foreign-held acres, but still alarming. And despite a promise it would bring in more than 1,000 jobs, the Grand Forks, North Dakota City Council last year canceled development of a $700 million corn mill from Chinese company Fufeng after U.S. Air Force officials raised national security concerns and locals revolted.
We the people have spoken up in direct opposition to the Fufeng project and ask that you shut it down.
One other issue linked directly to China with so far no accountability is the fentanyl crisis, which new research suggests is an intentional ploy by the CCP to poison Americans and weaken the country.
Every link in the chain is has Chinese involvement. It's the precursors, it's the port that they enter in Mexico, it is the creation of the fentanyl itself.
Capitol Hill vowing to investigate, the limits of its authority tested once again. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
In Operation Crime and Justice, 6 months after a stray bullet ends a Belmont University student's life, Tennessee laws are changing. Metro Police say Shaquille Taylor is the one who fired the bullet that killed Jillian Ludwig. Ludwig, a freshman at Belmont studying music. Early last year, Taylor was found mentally incompetent to stand trial for another violent crime, but at the same time, he failed to meet the qualifications for commitment.
Shame on the doctors who let him out and the judge who dismissed the case.
Ludwig's parents opening up to Fox 17 News about the new laws they helped to pass and their daughter's lasting legacy. That is tomorrow on Fox 17 News at 9.
Nice and quiet for now. Not for long, though, here in Nashville as we continue to track rain to our west. Things, though, dry for the moment from our Metro Center camera. But looking at the radar here, you can easily see that showers are starting to fill in just off to our west. Not only that, but seeing a few strikes of lightning. So can't rule out a rumble of thunder as we go through the overnight. Good news is severe weather is not on the table, and hopefully the rain will help wash away some of the pollen. Still a high category for tree pollen. Mulberry, oak, and elm were the main culprits today. Also looking at high grass allergies and a little bit in the weed category too. So some rain will help wash out the atmosphere a little bit to give us a little bit of relief. Temperatures here area wide will be right around 70 degrees for Cookeville and Crossville, Tullahoma around 73, Nashville right around 78 for the afternoon. Again, rain mainly in the morning and should clear slowly from west to east as we head through the afternoon and early evening. We'll talk more about our first potential 90-degree day for 2024. That in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
A deadline for
Private Lake, Saturday, May 4th, 10 a.m., conducted by James R. Cash, auction style. This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Eurostone.
Happening now, tensions are rising on college campuses nationwide as student protesters defy orders to leave after days of heated pro-Palestine demonstrations.
Fox 17 News' Matt Gelka has the latest. And by the way, you can vote on this issue by scanning the QR code that will appear here shortly on your screen during the story.
Police moved in on protesters at the University of Texas, cracking down on pro-Palestinian demonstrators there. At Columbia, demonstrators defied a 2 p.m. deadline given by school officials. The university said in a statement they would not divest from Israel as talks with protesters broke down. Embattled President Manoush Shafik said the school's encampment created an unwelcoming environment for many Jewish students and faculty. Protesters were told to clear out or face suspension. Campus chaos could give way to Capitol chaos. The protests and war have divided some in the Democratic Party.
Anti-Semitism exists and is growing in the United States. That exists among some people in the protest movement, of course. But here is the reality. Right now, what Netanyahu's right-wing, extremist, and racist government is doing is unprecedented in the modern history of warfare.
But more moderate members of the party have stood with America's Middle East ally.
It's very clear that there is a very germ of anti-Semitism in all of these protests, and then sometimes it flares up. I don't believe living in a pup tent for Hamas is really helpful.
The divide widening as campus protests continue in the background. Harvard protesters briefly raised a Palestinian flag in a place typically reserved for the American flag over Harvard Yard. Other colleges from coast to coast have seen demonstrations grow along with arrests. House Republicans are floating the idea of pulling federal funding from schools that allow the protests to continue.
They have a responsibility to protect their students. They're not doing so. So why would we continue to allow federal funding to go to schools that tolerate this?
Meanwhile, in the House, they're set to vote on the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act this week. It would provide a stricter definition of what anti-Semitism is, but it could also further divide Democrats on the topic. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
Well, during that story, we had a QR code linked up to this poll asking, do you think Congress should cut funding to colleges not combating anti-Semitism? And here are the results. Almost 300 people weighing in. 84.9% say yes. 15.1% say no.
Coming up, more on the weather for the week ahead, including when we might see the 90s return.
And
say something to me. I didn't have to wonder if you were telling me the truth.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Ponce Law.
In entertainment news tonight, a conversation live with So You Think You Can Dance top 6 finalist Jalen Sanders, who just happens to be from Tennessee.
Well, the show was on right here on Fox 17 before the news, and so sorry it didn't work out this time, but what a ride and what an experience. Jalen joining us live tonight. Thanks for taking some time, Jalen.
Guys, thank you so much for reaching out and wanting to talk. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, let's kind of recap everything. What a wild ride you've been on. Let's start from the beginning. How'd you get into dance?
Oh, man. So, look. Okay, boom. So I was 6 years old, and I was sitting on the couch with my dad watching the movie Breaking, right? And there was these characters called, like, Ozone and Turbo, and one of them started dancing on the wall, and I was like, whoa, like, that's OD, like, that's crazy. Like, I want to learn how to do that. So my dad taught me how to, like, pop and wave and everything, and that's how I really first got started.
Jalen, if you will, tell us where you're from, and I know you taught some dance classes here in Nashville at the Millennium Dance Complex. I'm sure those folks were excited to see you on the show tonight, and then talk to us about Movie Week.
Yeah, so I'm from Franklin, Tennessee, you know, right outside of Nashville. And so that's where, like, and when I moved to Tennessee from North Carolina in 2016, that's when I really started taking dance serious and started, like, teaching and really learning into, like, developing my, you know, aura and what I want to do within dance. And so, you know, it's crazy how I started with movies, and it's like I kind of exited in Movie Week. Like, I started because I liked the movie, and then the movie is what got me out of there. So it was kind of like almost a full circle moment. So it was kind of cool in a way.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I want to take you back to a key moment in the show. You know, you've rubbed elbows with the celebrities. You've worked with them with big names like Dolly Parton. One of the judges tonight said Jalen is a specialty dancer, but somehow his specialty keeps working. What was your reaction hearing that?
Man, I was like, it's really, it helps you, like, know that you picked the right purpose and what you want to do in life. It's like, I continue to just be who I am within dance and as I am as a person. So, like, to hear that me just being myself is continuing to do that is like a blessing within itself. So, yeah.
Jalen, got to ask you, I can imagine embracing different types of dance, you know, in the movies and stuff was uncomfortable. It ended up being your last challenge, but how are you feeling now knowing how far you came from when you first joined to where you exited the program?
Oh, man, it's a crazy feeling to think of, like, where we were at with the auditions with, like, hundreds of dancers to then being the top 6. I I always try to, like, go as far as I can, but I honestly had no clue how far I was going to go. So to make top 6, I was like, yo, this is, like, unreal. So I'm just thankful for that within itself.
A lot to be proud of, and we're so proud of you. Jalen Sanders, a top 6 finalist on season 18 of So You Think You Can Dance. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you guys so much.
Best of luck to you in the future.
Much love to y'all. God bless.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're not going to have awesome weather overnight, but it's not the bad kind like some of our neighbors in the Midwest had over the weekend. Thank heavens.
Yeah, we will be looking at rain, maybe a few rumbles. You may hear a couple rumbles with thunder, but nothing to be worried about as far as severe weather goes. That's off the table for tonight. Things are still quiet downtown. It's looking like it's going to be after midnight before we see much of the rain moving in. Maybe a few light showers at the moment, but again, most of that rain coming in as we head through the overnight tonight. But things still relatively quiet here there on Broadway. For the next few days, outdoor exercise, I'd give you the red light if you like to get out early and do it at least. Rain will be in the morning. If you have time in the later part of the day, you should be good to go. Wednesday, green light. It's going to be a tad warm and then pretty warm for Thursday. In fact, we're going to be warming up quite a bit. So if you want to do some exercise on Thursday outdoors, I would highly suggest doing it in the morning. Our high for Thursday will be 89, close to 90, and very well could hit 90 degrees. The record is 90 for May 2nd, set in 1901. So we will be near record-breaking highs for Thursday afternoon as we reach possibly 90 degrees. So our radar picture right now, again, we've got those showers that'll be pushing through as we head into the overnight. All of this along a cold front that'll be working its way across the area. By tomorrow midday, we will be looking at more of that rain to our east, and we'll start to dry out, but it may take a little bit of time before we do so as we head into Wednesday morning. High pressure building in, and that will keep us nice and dry for the day. Sunshine expected for Wednesday too, and with that high pressure starting to slip east, we're going to shift that wind pattern, and we're going to start to usher in some warmer weather, which will push us into the low to mid 80s for the day on Wednesday. Wednesday evening into Thursday, you can see that we remain dry, so we get a couple of dry days for both Wednesday and Thursday before we see at least another chance for showers building in heading into Thursday night and into Friday. Wanted to take a quick look here at our 8 to 14 day temperature outlook just to see how we are trending. We're talking about now well into May, the 7th through the 9th at least, looking at temperatures to be above average for us here. A lot of the country, in fact, eastern half and southeast looking to be above average as far as temperatures go. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We will look at those temperatures to climb close to 90 on Thursday. Still pretty warm on Wednesday even, but at least a couple of dry, sunny days. It'll be kind of a summer preview for us. Not overly oppressive, at least, just warm. Temperatures then drop back to those low 80s as we head towards the weekend. We do see some shower chances building in. In fact, I do see late Thursday night into Friday a chance for rain. So we'll see showers around for the last half of the work week and into part of your weekend.
Thank you, Katie. COVID-19 relief money in the hands of crooks. How much they actually took.
Hey there, hope you're having a great night. I'm Jennifer Waddell from Fox 17 News this morning. Hey, as the temperatures start to rise, so does the number of ticks that we see outside. We're going to take a look at where you're most...
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by U.S. Pest Protection. This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Zander Insurance.
Well, COVID relief funding intended to help small businesses during the height of the pandemic, stolen by crooks.
It happened. Fox 17 News' Cheryl Atkinson sitting down with the Small Business Administration's Inspector General to essentially follow the money in this look back at Sunday's full measure.
We conservatively estimated that $200 billion in potential fraud existed in these programs. And we only use the word potential because we haven't yet opened the case on every one of them. But it's important to understand that for every one of those 4.5 million loans that represented in that 200 billion, we would open a case if we had the resources and the time.
That's shocking. I mean, that, I think your report said, means at least 17% of the funds were dispersed to potentially fraudulent actors, more than $136 billion in EIDLs and $64 billion in PPP. So 17%, that's unacceptably high, isn't it, for fraud?
I would absolutely agree with you that it is, especially when you're talking about 200 billion. I would say the number one thing that I have learned through all this is that the government needs a blueprint for standing up any emergency program. Really, they need a blueprint for standing up any program that requires the internal control environment to be seriously considered prior to a single dollar going through the door.
Because when an emergency happens, typically a program starts up, Congress appropriates money, it flows out the door without many controls, and then inevitably we find a lot of it was misspent.
Correct.
But you're saying on the front end there could be sort of a standing way of operating, so there would be controls on the front end?
This is true, but to be honest, why don't we have that? This should be in place for any program. The Pandemic Response Accountability Committee, the PRAC, of which I'm a member, this is going to be one of the legacy items left behind when they sunset in 2025. There will be a blueprint for this that we hope would be the marker for how government is supposed to be run in this regard.
Would Congress have to pass that blueprint to codify it, or how would that work?
Well, no. We will issue the blueprint as part of the PRAC or the greater council's community, but wouldn't that be a great thing if that happened?
For more on this story, you can watch a replay of Cheryl's online Full Measure episode. It's at fullmeasure.news. And you can watch for new episodes Sunday morning at 7:30 and Sunday nights at 11 right here on Fox 17.
Well, tipping your Domino's delivery driver could become a financially good decision. How it helps you.
And something to brag about, whose readers think the Tennessee Aquarium is #1.
When someone hits you, insurance companies could put us out of business if they wanted to. All they have to do is be fair. But they're not. I can help.
New tonight, one of the state's top tourist attractions getting some national attention from the readers of Newsweek magazine. Those readers just voted the Tennessee Aquarium down in Chattanooga, I should say, 30 years old, as the best aquarium in the country. Readers selected it from a list that was put together by travel writers, journalists in there, and bloggers as well. The Chattanooga Aquarium is now stumping for votes in the USA Today 10 Best Readers' Choice poll, so give them a vote.
Meantime, Domino's giving you a financial reason to tip their drivers. The pizza chain is incentivizing customers to tip more with its You Tip, We Tip promotion. Rewards, and the customers can earn a $3 coupon each time that they tip their delivery drivers $3. Coupons received are only valid for 1 week.
Is the U.S. economy headed for a period of stagflation? I'm Atrell Nashar with what that could look like and how it might impact your budget.
It is a cancer journey we've been following for months. I'm Liz Bonus. The next steps in taking control or taking back a part of her life. We share details just ahead.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
It's time for all of us, the police department, Nashville, all of us to start saying enough's enough.
In Operation Crime and Justice, Metro's top cop says the criminal justice system continues to fail us all.
Well, he says that we're seeing more repeat offenders on the streets committing crimes than compared to recent years. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller joining us live at Metro's North Precinct with the call to action tonight. Caitlin?
Yes, well, Metro Police Chief John Drake says the amount of violent crimes that have been happening due to repeat offenders is too high, and he says it needs to stop and be addressed. Chief Drake says that the trend with these violent offenders is due to low bonds and lack of accountability. Criminals are back on the streets quickly to re-offend. One example, a convicted felon charged with 105 offenses in Nashville is in custody accused of raping and kidnapping a female Amazon delivery worker. Police say Carl Hamilton attacked the woman in a mailroom of an apartment building downtown.
It's frustrating to me when you hear someone that committed a murder in 2020 and then 2021 they commit another murder and you're like, how does that happen? And then in 2024 they commit aggravated assault where they shoot someone and you're like, how does that even happen?
Chief Drake says it's going to take the entire criminal justice system, including the DA, parole, judges, public defenders, everyone. And Chief Drake also launched the Police Activities League to intervene at an early age and help prevent these violent crimes. Now, this includes working with children with things like sports, music, and the arts, while also interacting with police officers. Reporting live from North Nashville, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Well, continuing Operation Crime and Justice, a move to crack down on juvenile crime. It's called a blended sentence, and the governor is expected to sign the new plan into law. And here's how it works. Teenagers 14 and older who commit serious crimes could serve up to 5 years in adult prison after doing time in the juvenile facility. Those 16 and older facing murder charges will go right to adult court. And while many lawmakers agree it's time to crack down on the juvie crime, some feel that the bill was not very well thought out.
There are people out there that have common sense that would say the 15-year-old that just was accused of murdering 2 people and carjacking someone, that person's probably a pretty violent person and should be treated as an adult.
How are we giving them a jury trial? How are we doing this blended sentencing? Where are we going to house them in the meantime? Did we thoroughly vet this so we know it is constitutional, and how are we going to make it work?
That was Senator Roberts there, and he said he believes more input was needed to come up with a better solution. Well, relevant to this, earlier in the newscast, we told you about our X poll that's live right now, asking the question, should juveniles accused of serious crimes be sent to adult prisons after they turn 18? We're ticking up here on the votes here, almost 500 people weighing in. And most people here, 95.6% of respondents say yes, juveniles accused of serious crimes should be sent to adult prisons after they turn 18, compared to just 4.4% that say no. Each night, look for a brand new poll on our X page that you can participate in.
New tonight, a Rutherford County family is counting its blessings after Murfreesboro fire crews rescued one of their relatives from a burning home. Murfreesboro Fire and Rescue says a woman was trapped inside a burning house on Amberwood Circle this past Friday night. Other family members, they made it out safely. Firefighters arrived, made entry, found the trapped woman, and got her to safety.
Rain moving in overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning as we head into the next several hours. We're expecting those showers mainly in Nashville Metro Center and metro area. A lot of rain, though, moving through Clarksville at this time, and you notice that it continues to sort of train over the same locations. It may lead to some spot flooding, mainly creeks, streams, or urban areas that don't drain as easily. We're not expecting widespread issues, and most importantly, severe weather off the table for tonight. We're not expecting that either. A little bit closer in, and you can see some of those showers that continue to spill into portions of Robertson County, Cheatham County, and now into portions of Davidson County too. As we zoom out all along a frontier, and that front will slowly slip across Middle Tennessee, heading through early tomorrow morning. Live look here from our South Nashville camera. Really not looking too bad at this time. Visibility looking good. So again, expecting more of those showers as we head through the overnight. In fact, timing it out, some light rain between now and I'd say about 2 a.m. and that's when we'll start to see the intensity go up here in Music City. And then a few lingering showers that'll be possible as we head through the remainder of the day on Tuesday. Temperatures stay pretty warm through the overnight too, with the clouds and the showers around. Should be bottoming out in those mid to lower 60s. Nashville around 64, right around 60 toward the plateau, and Clarksville right around 62. We'll talk more about the rain, walking you through an hour-by-hour look with Future Track and when we might see 90 later this week. It's all in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast. Megan.
Thank you, Katie. Well, new tonight, if you live here in Middle Tennessee, there's a chance that maybe you're missing a letter or a package that should have been delivered by now. And it's not because of anything that's happening here in the Nashville area. It's problems at the Postal Service down in Birmingham, Alabama. That's where we're tracking all of this back to. The Birmingham office reportedly dealing with staffing and volume issues that are causing major delays. We're still waiting on a response to questions about the delay time from the Postal Service. Until then, make sure to track your packages using the tracking number on your online receipt.
Tonight in Fox 17 News investigates 6 months after a stray bullet ends a Belmont University student's life. State laws are changing. Metro Police say Shaquille Taylor fired the bullet that killed Jillian Ludwig, who was at Belmont to study music. Earlier last year, 6 months before her murder, Taylor was deemed mentally incompetent to stand trial in another case, but did not qualify to be committed.
Shame on the doctors who let him out and the judge who dismissed the case.
Jillian Ludwig's parents opening up to Fox 17 News about the new laws they helped to get passed and their daughter's lasting legacy. That is tomorrow on Fox 17 News at 9.
As the college campus protests continue, students are now being suspended.
The Big Bang Theory. Tomorrow at 6 on Fox 17.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Tennessee Homebuyers.
Making headlines tonight, pro-Palestine protests continue on college campuses across the country, in some cases leading to student arrests.
Well, Fox News' Connor Hansen showing us how things continue to escalate.
At Columbia, where encampment-style pro-Palestinian protests started, tents still fill the campus lawn. University officials now say students will be suspended. Some might not be allowed to finish the semester and could be barred from campus.
They will not be moved. We demand divestment. We will not be moved unless by force.
A Columbia spokesperson said they're urging protesters not to interfere with the upcoming graduation planned for the same location. Similar demonstrations have picked up steam across the country, but some schools are treating them much differently. At the University of Texas and University of Georgia, police forcefully removed and arrested protesters. The protests and some of the rhetoric used continues to draw the attention of politicians.
If the administration just lets the students walk all over their code of conduct handbook, then at that time, the president and the board needs to have these students removed, or the president and the board should resign.
Protesters want universities to divest from Israel, and now amnesty for students arrested or suspended. The White House weighed in.
The president has always been clear that while Americans have the right to peacefully protest, he stands squarely against any rhetoric, violent rhetoric, any hate threats, and physical intimidation and hate speech.
Columbia University says it had been negotiating with students leading those protests since last Wednesday, but cannot reach a resolution. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Continuing coverage, 4 law enforcement officers are dead after trying to serve a warrant at a home in Charlotte, North Carolina. Members of the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force were serving a warrant when police say that the suspect opened fire. The officers shot back, killing the suspect in the front yard of the home. At least 5 officers were hurt in the shootout. Jennings says a second person then fired on officers from inside the home. He calls it one of the worst incidents that he's seen in his 32 years with the department.
To me, it's the most tragic one that I've been involved in. I don't know historically. I can't imagine that there's one that's any worse than what we're seeing today.
A woman and a 17-year-old teenage boy found in the home following that 3-hour standoff. Chief Jennings says that they are being questioned, but could not confirm whether either were suspects. He emphasizes it's still very early in the investigation.
While the American dream of home ownership is out of reach for many.
It began with you.
An exclusive interview with the parents of Jillian Ludwig, Tuesday at 9.
Home retailer Williams-Sonoma under fire for labeling Chinese-made products for sale as American-made. The company ordered to pay up more than $3 million in civil penalties over the false claims. FTC Chair Lena Khan saying, quote, Williams-Sonoma claimed its products were made in the United States even though they were made in China. Williams-Sonoma's deception misled consumers and harmed honest American businesses. Williams-Sonoma also owns Pottery Barn in West Elm. Rising prices are sending more shoppers to find bargains at Aldi. The Wall Street Journal says the discount grocer based in Germany plans to add 800 new stores nationwide in the next 4 years. Aldi has been adding about 100 stores a year over the past decade. Pizza lovers are still doing carryout and delivery from Domino's. Its quarter was better than Wall Street predicted. Earnings rose 22% from a year ago. And the Queen of Country, Dolly Parton, is reportedly developing her own line of wines and has registered the trademark in the U.S. A source told The Sun that Parton is always looking for new ways to reach her audience.
My coat of many colors that my mama made for me.
No word yet on when the wine will be released. That's business. In New York, CJ Papa, Fox News.
In consumer news tonight, new data shows renting a home is now cheaper than buying in all the largest U.S. metropolitan areas.
Well, Fox 17 News' Janae Bowen's taking a closer look at the difference.
It seems like buying a house is harder now more than it's ever been.
We're seeing those private developers come in and build homes that start again at the upwards of $300,000, sometimes $400,000. How can you compete with that?
A lot of people can't compete, and new data from Bankrate shows renting is more affordable than buying in all 50 of the largest metros.
We've seen home prices go up, mortgage rates go up, inventory is low, so it's a very competitive market, which is pushing home prices up. But renting isn't necessarily affordable either.
As of February, the typical monthly mortgage payment was $2,703, while the average rent, $1,979. Now the gap is even bigger in certain areas like San Francisco, where rent is 180.7% cheaper than owning a home.
There's limited supply when it comes to homes, and there's a lot more people who want to live in these areas, renters and would-be homeowners or homeowners in general. And so that really drives the prices up. We also see these areas have higher costs of living.
But then in places like Detroit, Michigan, there's just a 2% difference. No matter where you are, if you can afford to buy a home, experts say go for it.
Don't worry about trying to time the housing market. Time in the housing market is more important because this is a long-term investment.
Now, even if you have to rent right now, there are still ways to build wealth, like consistently investing in the stock market. I'm Janae Bowens reporting.
Continuing coverage tonight, and another milestone for Maryland as the first container ship arrived at the port of Baltimore. First time since the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed. That port says in a post to X that the MSC Cargo Passion 3 made it through the 35-foot temporary channel Sunday, carrying nearly 1,000 containers. Ships have been unable to get in and out of the port for over a month.
Rain as we head through the overnight tonight. Scattered showers already in our western half of the viewing area, mainly west of I-65. And we'll see more of that rain fill in as we head through the evening hours. In fact, take a look here at the radar and you can see that we've got more showers starting to move into Davidson County, all the way through Robertson County now into Cheatham and to the south here, Murray County, and down into Lawrence and Wayne County too. So again, the rain will continue to fill in and move through as we head through the overnight tonight. Rain chances, well, they taper off through the morning hours tomorrow. We are dry for Thursday and Friday, so nice little break. But the rain does arrive again as we head towards Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday, although those chances do drop off heading into the later half of the weekend. Tuesday, temperature right around 67 at 10 o'clock. It'll be a mild overnight, so we'll start pretty warm. But stormy in the morning, and that'll clear. We're left with decreasing clouds later in the day, with temperatures topping off in the mid to upper 70s. So as we walk you through the remainder of tonight here and into early Tuesday, this is 2 a.m. Scattered rain around much of Middle Tennessee here. A couple areas could pick up some heavy pockets of rain. But again, severe weather not on the table this go around, so that is good news. As we head towards 6 a.m., some showers from the morning commute. By this point, though, the majority of rain should be beginning to clear out. And then notice as we head towards 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon that we really start to see things dry out from here. Late Tuesday night into Wednesday, we clear out nicely. We're left with a couple of nice dry days. Both Wednesday and Thursday are looking sunny with more clouds moving in by Thursday night. That's going to bring in our next rain chance. How much rain are we expecting with this round here? Kind of depends on where those heavy pockets decide to set up camp. But anywhere between a half inch, maybe an inch in some spots. Some areas could pick up closer to maybe 1.5 inches, possibly 2. But again, it'll depend on where those heavy pockets are. Right now, models have been trending more of that heavy rain east of I-65, but we've seen quite a bit of good rain ongoing this evening west of 65 as well. So most of this should not result in flooding. I don't expect widespread issues, but possible impacts through the overnight. Maybe some streets and or roads that are prone to flooding when we get a quick heavy pocket of rain moving in, or some creeks or streams, same thing. So just keep that in mind. Temperatures tonight stay mild right around 64. We'll see those scattered showers, some rumbles of thunder too, but no severe weather problems for us. Up to 78 for tomorrow. Showers around with clearing as we head into the later half of the day. And then we take a look at your 7-day forecast. We're up to 85 as we head towards Wednesday. Could see 90, our first 90-degree day of 2024 if we hit it. And then back down to 80 with showers and storms picking up as we head towards the weekend.
Is the U.S. a moment that was, achieved? It's like the start of a new life.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Ponce Law.
In the economy tonight, a disappointing gross domestic product GDP reading and a higher than expected inflation report have economists concerned.
Well, Fox 17 News' Atra El-Nashar are taking a look at the numbers.
Back-to-back disappointing readings of the economy last week, deflating hopes the U.S. can make it out of this period of high inflation unscathed. An advanced reading of first quarter GDP shows the economy grew at a sluggish rate of 1.6%. At the same time, the measure of inflation the Federal Reserve watches closest isn't budging at a stubborn 2.8%. This stalled progress is stoking fears of stagflation, considered a central bank's worst nightmare when inflation is high and economic growth is slow. The U.S. has been through this before in the 1970s during a period known as the Great Inflation. And it was really 1974 and 75 that saw the worst of stagflation. The economy actually shrunk while inflation was north of 8 and 9%. Of course, what we're seeing now is nothing like that. But the CEO of the nation's largest bank says he's remaining cautious.
It looks a little bit more like the 70s to me. And I point out to a lot of people, things look pretty rosy in 1972. They were not rosy in 1973. So don't get lulled into a false sense of security.
Historians say those economic struggles were among the reasons why both Presidents Ford and Carter lost their re-election bids. In the Biden White House, the president's top economic advisor says they're closely watching the factors that helped bring inflation down from its 9% peak 2 summers ago.
Are they just on a break or are they gone? And obviously, we've argued that they are that they're still there, and that we expect inflation to continue a bumpy path down towards target.
The Fed's target inflation rate is 2%, and its members are adamant they won't cut interest rates until they're sure it's within reach.
The world needs to brace for a more prolonged period of time of somewhat higher interest rates.
Your total is an expensive remedy to high inflation that economists expect to stick around for the better part of this year. In Washington, I'm Atrel Nashar reporting.
It is a cancer journey we've been following for months. I'm Liz Bonus. The next steps in taking control or taking back a part of her life. We share details just ahead.
Hey there, hope you're having a great night. I'm Jennifer Waddell from Fox 17 News this morning. Hey, as the temperatures start to rise, so does the number of ticks that we see outside. We're going to take a look at where you're most likely to pick up a tick and what to do to prevent any dangerous side effects, how to treat it quickly. Tuesday on Fox 17 News this morning.
We worked overtime. Now it's TV time.
All merchandise 30% off during our end of the month sale. Going on now at all 3 Lazy Boy locations.
In health news tonight, experts are finding new ways to help people cope with mental and emotional toll that cancer takes.
Well, Fox 17 News medical reporter Liz Bonus following one cancer patient's journey to healing after a breast cancer diagnosis.
Hey there, everybody. For months, we've had the privilege of following Krista Power's breast cancer journey, or Coach Krista as we know her. Today, her inspiring next steps as she chooses to take back a part of her life.
She is now cancer-free, but every 3 weeks, Krista still comes here to Ohio's UC Cancer Center for ongoing therapy.
It's a preventative based on the type of cancer that I had.
That type, HER2 receptor positive, so they continue to target it, just as a precaution right now.
HER2 targeted therapy is another type of smart therapy that is directed against a certain receptor on the cancer cell, HER2 receptor. This receptor gives signals to the cancer cell to grow faster, and targeting this receptor blocks that signal, causing the cancer cells to die.
Krista admits just having to continue therapy.
Physically, I'm feeling really strong and the team's taking really great care of me. It's emotionally that I'm starting to kind of feel some of the effects of like, wow, this has taken a toll on me.
So along with the blessing of those such as nurse practitioner Holly Dornetti, she's trying to focus on not just treating the body, but the mind too.
It might not be a quick fix, but I can help them as a whole.
So once she's recovered a few days from this therapy, Krista heads here to Ohio's Activate Brain and Body.
We are the first of its kind brain and body fitness center. We promote the link between exercise and brain health.
Adam Ortman is the chief exercise scientist here. He told me to take back emotional drain, you have to work both the body and the brain.
And science shows that that neuroplasticity, those connections, it's promoting that, which can help reduce the brain fog, improve focus and attention.
For Krista, it's worked. It's helping her battle back against her mental fatigue.
I'm grateful that there's science to say, hey, this actually works. And when I get to show up and practice it and start to see and feel the threading back together, I'm like, oh, thank goodness. I'm not doomed to be this forever.
Now, Krista's scheduled to have surgery to rebuild her breast later this summer. She's invited us to continue to follow this important step as well. We'll let you know what happens. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.